YouTube. So we are live on YouTube, and welcome to Just a Word. This is Kazak Aliyahu as we are here once again for another week's teaching. I am here with our brother Etachan, and we will bring you that which has been laid on our hearts. And if you look at the title of this teaching, it is called Drunkenness. When I say drunkenness versus self-control. Drunkenness versus self-control. And both are really contrary to one another. And we say drunkenness, we do not only literally mean drunkenness. That's not our primary thing, a drunkenness that we are used to as in a person getting intoxicated with alcohol. But the Bible used drunkenness in a figurative sense. And we're going to concentrate more on the figurative use of drunkenness, even though we will be also emphasizing the physical aspect of it, of getting drunk as an illustration of what we mean by drunkenness. But we are going to begin speaking about self-control. Self-control is the first thing we are going to speak about, which is one of the fruit of the Ruach. It is called temperance in the New Testament. Temperance, which is self-control, which is one of the fruit of the Ruach. Galatians 5:22-23. Temperance or self-control is the last of the fruit that is listed. Can you read, please?
But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law.
Against all of these there is no law. So there's no law that says you must not have self-control. But self-control will allow you to obey the Torah. We're going to see how important self-control is. Hardly mentioned in the Bible. Some of these things that we're looking at, they are hardly mentioned in the Bible, but they are so integral to our salvation. But we're going to say self-control is all over the Bible and the lack thereof. Because when we have self-control, that is when we have a chance to be perfect. You cannot be perfect without self-control. But Galatians 5:24, telling you about the 9 fruit of the Ruach, what did it say?
And they that are Hamashiach have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts.
So there we go. Those who believe in Hamashiach, those who belong to Hamashiach rather, have crucified the flesh with their affections and lusts. And there is where self-control becomes important. Because we speak so much about the flesh. When you have crucified the flesh with the affections and lust, then you will have self-control. Self-control is an inner battle between us and the self. Whether or not we can control the self. Because we are ticking time bombs. And to be perfect, the essential foundation of our salvation is, can you learn to control yourself? That's basically it. Can you learn to control yourself? And which self are we talking about? In Romans 7, Shaul spoke about the sinful man, the sinful nature. The nature that makes us, when we want to do good, evil presents itself. And the things that we want to do, we don't do it. And the things we don't want to do, that is what we do. Self-control determines all of that. Self-control will determine whether we have control over our unruly selves. Because in Romans 7, Shaul went on to tell us how we are uncontrollable when we are under sin. And he went on to tell us in verse 24, O sinful man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? Then he went on to tell us in verse 25 that it is Yahusha HaMashiach. So the self-control that we need today is self-control through Yahusha HaMashiach, which is Galatians 5:24, and they that are HaMashiachs have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. So when you are in HaMashiach, you have killed this with all its affections and all its lusts and all its desires. It is now under control. Why and how? Through Yahusha HaMashiach. And how? By walking as he walked. By having the mind, as Shaul says, we have the mind of a Mashiach. Having the mind of a Mashiach is having a mind that says, nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. That is having the mind of a Mashiach, a mind that is sold out 100% to do the will of the Father. And if we have that mind, we kill the flesh because the flesh no longer leads us. Whenever any inclination comes to please the flesh, we will pull it into check. Yeah? That is the life in Hamashiach, which allows us to have self-control. So, temperance. Let's look at the meaning of temperance. Temperance, GU 1466. Self-control. The virtue of one who masters his desires and passions, especially his sensual appetites. You master your desires and passions. And this, we are tested with this every single day. Will you be able to give up on something? Will you be able to reject something? Are you in control of this? So that when this has its desires that are not of the Most High, you will be able to reject it. So it's self-control, especially continence. Continence come from contain. You can contain yourself. You can control yourself. The dictionary meaning of self-control is restraint exercised over one's impulses, emotions, or desires. Restraint exercised over one's own impulse. The impulse is that thing that you hear that when they say people are impulsive. When people are impulsive, as soon as something comes to them, boom, they do it. Yeah? Yes, you can be impulsive to do the will of Yahuwah, but it says one's own impulses. That means the desires that come up in us, are we able to have restraint over it? It's like a horse that you're riding. And the horse is galloping, galloping, galloping. You have to pull the reins of the horse in order to get that horse to stop. Are you able to pull the reins of your heart in order to control your impulses, your emotions or desires? And this is the danger of emotions. Emotions, those feelings that we get, these are what leads us most of the time into sin. Emotions, anger, and all of those passions. Are we able to control them? And that is the challenge for every one of us as believers. Impulses, emotions, desires. To exercise restraint over them. Another meaning is the ability to control. Where are you going? The ability to control oneself. In particular, one's emotions and desires, especially in difficult situations. So self-control is necessary in difficult situations. That is when you know you have self-control. When the situation comes up, the tough challenges come up, am I able to exercise control over myself? Synonyms of self-control: constraint, continence, discipline. That's why the word says, who Yahuwah loves, he disciplines, he chastens. Chastening is discipline. This is why the Most High does not leave us having this comfortable life at all times. It is his mercy that puts us through chastening. Chastening actually allows us to learn to have exercise over our own impulses. If we are led free, this is a human being. Sad to say, if the human being is just left to himself, the human being will fall into his own desires. His own desires, and will not be able to learn and exercise self-control. Another meaning is, another meaning is discretion, inhibition, refrainment, repression, reserve, restraint, self-command, self-restraint, self-suppression. So that word there is very interesting, the self-command. If you are not commanding self, the question is, who is commanding us? Who is commanding us? We read in the Shepherd of Hermas about the angel of wickedness, that there are two passions with man. We looked at it last week. That shows that there are two passions with man, and in the middle is the conscience, which goes according as it will. The key to self-control is to have a lively conscience, a conscience that is finely tuned to right and wrong. When wrong comes, the conscience will hit us and say, no, don't do that. Yeah, that is the decide. That is where self-control operates in our conscience. So this self-command means that the self, in its natural way, does not command itself. It commands its own. In the spiritual realm, does not command itself, but in the natural realm, it commands itself. So we are being led according to our brute nature, our animalistic nature. This animalistic nature, it is what causes us to just care about the self, to selfishly go according to what this wants. If this is left alone, without any spiritual attachment, this will just go about just seeking to desire itself. And this is where you get greed from, etc. And it is manifested in different ways in this world, in that you have selfish people who just get rich, and don't care about anybody else. You have people who have problems with food and eat and don't care about anybody else. It's just going according to as the self says. Whatever this self says, I do. That is the opposite of self-control. All right? So, let's begin with the Bible a little bit more. The first sin was caused by a lack of self-control. Remember when the serpent went to Eve? It was a lack of self-control. Because we've got to look at the different stages that you go through with self-control by looking at that. Almost every week we look into this first sin. It's a lack of self-control that made Eve unable to control herself, that made her to sin. And it is this lack of self-control that made Adam go and follow Eve and step also into sin. Without self-control, people, we are going to lapse into sin, without a doubt. Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 15. We're going to look at the command and the judgment. So, with self-control for us as believers, we're not talking about people in this world. For us as believers, we are given a command because we are given the book. Now, when we are given the commands, we are told what to do and what not to do. So we know right from wrong. So let's start at the command and the judgment. Genesis 2, verses 15 to 17. Go ahead, please.
And Yahuwah took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it.
Hold on, please. Can somebody pull back that? Yeah, sin is serious.
And Yahuwah commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die.
Thou shalt surely die. So Yahuwah Alua commanded the man, that's verse 16. And he told him, this is the command. Thou shalt not eat of it. That is the command. But along with the command comes the judgment. In the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. That is the judgment. So they were given the command and they were given the judgment. But then comes, always after that, the temptation. Genesis 3, verse 1. The temptation. Go ahead, please.
Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahuwah Alua had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath Yahuwah said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden.
So the temptation came with the tempter. Yeah, Yahuwah said, You shall not eat of the tree of the garden. So when we are tempted, the first thing that comes to us is the command. And the woman acknowledged the command. We may eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden. She acknowledged the command. Continue.
But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Yahuwah hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Lest ye die. So that is the judgment. She is telling you the command. Yahuwah said we must not eat of it, and then lest we die. So, acknowledgement of the command comes after we are tempted. So, whenever we are tempted to do something that is sinful, we are reminded of what is commanded. And this has happened to me so many times. And after you do it, you remember the command. But then, after we acknowledge the command, the tempter continues to work on our desire. This is where the lusts and the desires and the self now comes in. Because the self now tells you that you need this, or you have to have this. You must have this. I want this. Genesis 3, verse 4.
And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die.
That is when you have the impulses now to sin. You shall not surely die. And then what happens after that?
For Yahuwah doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
So there is the incentive now. After you acknowledge the command and the temptation comes again to you, there is this angel of iniquity, angel of wickedness, that is there with you that say, no man, if you partake of it, nothing will happen. Yeah? Nothing at all will happen. You are good. As a matter of fact, if you do it, then you will be okay. Everything will be all right, and you will make you better, and whatever. But, verse 6,
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
So this is where self-control should have come in. Man, how many times has this happened to me? Yes? It makes you feel so ashamed when you see all of these things here. When all of these things came upon her, verse 6 is where self-control is required. Right there. But guess what comes in? The emotions, the passions, the desires, the lusts. And when that comes in, and there is no conscience, because what should have happened here with Kwa is that Kwa should have had a conscience of sin, that she says, no, I am not going to do that because of the fear of Yahuwah. I'm not going to do that because if I do that, Yahuwah said I must not do it. And if I do it, I am going to sin. No, there was no conscience there. It says, when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, so everything there is in the natural, not thinking about the spiritual. Because the spiritual is invisible now. So if you don't have a conscience, you will not think about the spiritual. This is how we sin, people. And that it was pleasant to the eyes and a tree to be desired to make one wise. That worldly, carnal thing that you look on. That is what? And that is why it says the carnal mind is enmity with Alua. It cannot please Alua. Because as long as the mind is carnal, looking on carnal things, the mind will sin. She took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. So then now, the lack of self-control leads us to sin. Verse 7.
And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons.
All right, so that is sin. Nakedness is sin. So let's look a little bit more of the danger of our own lusts and desires. Because in the book of James chapter 1, it tells us a little bit more about this process of our own lust and desires, which, by the way, leads to lack of self-control, lack of self-constraint or self-restraint. James 1:13. Read it, please.
Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of Allure. For Allure cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lusts and enticed. Then when lust
Continue.
Then when lust hath conceived.
No, sorry. Before you go further, let's look at the meaning of lust. Every man is tempted when he's drawn away of his own lust. That is where self-control is required. Lust there is epitomia, which means desire, craving, longing, desire for what is forbidden. Lust. Desire for what is forbidden. Lust. So this lust, every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own desire for what is forbidden, of his own craving, of his own longing. Then go to verse 14.
But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed.
Continue.
Then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death.
Do not
err, my beloved brethren.
Yes. So this now, what we're going to give us a little cheat sheet of how not to sin. This self-control thingy that is so little mentioned in the scriptures. Notice what it says. Every man is tempted when he's drawn away of his own lust. So you're drawn away of your own lust, but what do you do when the lust comes? When lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin. This is when Hua was drawn away of her own lust, when she saw that it was good for food and good for the eyes and a food to make one wise. That is the lust. The decision factor determines whether we sin. Whether we exercise self-control and say, no, not going to do it. Or we go according to our own desires. Yeah? So when lust hath conceived, that is when now we explode and say, no, I'm going to do it. It bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth what? Death. Because the wages of sin is death. So we do not want death. So we must know that our lust we're going to go to a different degree now. Our lust will make us hate Yahuwah, which will make him lead us into deception. That's how dangerous this thing is. Well, every week, teachings make you weary. Don't think I'm doing this, people, because I am a sadist, wanting to to pummel you every day. But boy, when you look at the word in truth, this is very burdensome indeed. So let's go to the book of Tehillim, chapter 81, verse 11 to 16. That's how important self-control is. It will make us haters of the Most High. And I have to repent before the Most High as these words come out and show up the, imperfections in me, even as I'm presenting it to others. Psalms 81, verse 1. No, we're not at verse 1, are we? What did we say? Verse 11, sorry.
But my people would not hearken to my voice, and Yasharal would none of me.
Therefore, remember the process. You know the command, but then your desires now put you into a decision-making process. The Most High is saying the people would not hear his voice. Now, this is why when we speak here, people don't hear because of the lack of what? Self-control. The people are listening to us, and don't think I'm saying that you alone are lacking self-control. As I told you, that these things make me have to repent as well. The people are hearing us here who cannot and will not listen to us. It is because of lack of self-control. Their desires in this world and their lusts in this world, they have to satisfy. Can you turn on the lights, please? They have to satisfy. And when we are satisfying our lust and our desires, we cannot obey the commands of Yahuwah. We cannot. So let's go to verse 12.
So I gave them up unto their own heart's lust.
Oh, baby. You see where self-control comes in. Remember, Hua knew the command. Hua did not obey the command. So she was given up to her own heart's lust. The Most High is not going to stop us from going after our lusts and desires. You could pray until now, till thine kingdom come, for the Most High to stop you from doing this. He will not. As Hamashiach said in the books of the Nazarene, Yahuwah will not do for you what you can do for yourself. So Yahuwah leaves you to make these decisions. Now, when you make these decisions, he just sits and waits and says, I'll give them up to their own heart's lust. Read 11 to 12, please.
But my people would not hearken to my voice, and Yasharal would none of me. So I gave them up unto their own heart's lust, and they walked in their own counsels.
So whatever we deliberate, he allows us to do it. Verse 13.
Oh, that my people had hearkened unto me, and Yasharal had walked in my ways. I should soon have subdued their enemies, and turned my hand against their adversaries.
Wow. So there is a reward for us to obey him, to have self-control. He will keep our enemies away. You see? This is serious. Continue.
The haters of Yahuwah should have submitted themselves unto him.
So. Because we did not hearken unto his voice, and we went according to our own desires, he says we hate him. He says the haters of Yahuwah should have submitted themselves unto him, but their time should have endured forever. Verse 16.
He should have fed them also with the finest of the wheat, and with honey out of the rock should I have satisfied thee.
So, the Most High rewards us. So, like when you have self-control with food, When you have self-control with food, which one of the greatest, that's why we use the account in Genesis. When you have lack of self-control with food, sometimes you feel as if you cannot do without a certain food. The Most High says, I would have feed you with the finest of the wheat and with honey out of the rock should I have satisfied thee. That means when we think we can't do without a certain food, the Most High says he has food lined up for us that he will use to satisfy us. Had we just not beckoned to our own desires. So our lust will not allow us to do his commandments. That's why he says we are haters of him. 1 John 5:3. Our lust will not allow us to do his commandments. Go ahead, please.
For this is the love of Yahuwah, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous.
His commandments are not grievous. This is the love of Yahuwah. So this is why we are haters of him. If we do not keep his commandments, he says we hate him. And he says, and his commandments are not grievous. Let us think about it. They are not grievous, but yet still we act as if we have to disobey his commandments. Yeah? This is how we get in trouble with the Most High, my people. 2 Kings 17 verse 3. If we don't keep his commandments, he says our ways are evil. You see the self-control, it's important. And this is why many of us are religious. Because we are lacking in self-control. And we are there assuring ourselves that we are okay. But when you look at the scriptures do not smile kindly on us. 2 Kings 17 verse 13. Did I say it? Go ahead, please.
Yet Yahuwah testified against Yasharal and against Yehuda by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, Turn ye from your evil ways, and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets.
Turn ye from your evil ways. That means if you don't keep his commandments, your ways are evil to him. And who did he send it through? Prophets and all the seers. He testified. So when we are here speaking we have our own problems and our own things to work on, but he gives us his word to tell people. When people do not listen, he says, your ways are evil. And why are our ways evil? Remember that because of Adam's sin, we all start at a disadvantage. As David says, born in sin and shaped in iniquity. 2 Ezra 3 verse 21. We are showing what Adam's sin has done to us.
For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed and was overcome, and so be all they that are born of him.
So mankind has the tendency, just like our father Adam, to be overcome with a wicked heart. So be all they that are born of him. 2 Ezra 4 verse 30.
For the grain of evil seed has been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning. And how much wickedness has it brought up unto this time? And how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of threshing come?
We have to know ourselves, people. You know, we have this tendency to act kind of cocky as if we're all that. We are nothing. We are weak. We are under forces that we cannot even control. Yes? Our father Adam had a wicked heart. And that wicked heart is inside of us. Yet still we act as if we are so. We can be so self-righteous at times, as if we are all that. Because through Adam, sin passed on to all men. So we all have to overcome sin. Romans 5 verse 12.
Wherefore, As by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned.
Death passed unto all men, because all have sinned, because that sinful nature has been passed down to all men. So we start at a disadvantaged people, because we're giving the process as why we need Yahusha, why we need to be changed, to be transformed. So if we will not change, we will go deeper and deeper into evil. There are no two ways about it. 2 Kings 17, verses 14 to 23. 2 Kings 17, verses 14 to 23. Read it, please.
Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks, like to the neck of their fathers, and did not believe in Yahuwah their allure.
So if we will not change, if we will not hear, we are going to go deeper and deeper into sin, deeper and deeper into transgression. Continue.
And they rejected his statutes, and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity, and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom Yahuwah had charged them, that they should not do like them.
So this process, my people, does not happen at one time. Between verses 14 and 15, you think everything just happened right away. They don't hear. It is a process. It's a process of degradation through sin. If we will not hear, if you will not stop at a certain point and turn around from your wickedness, this process will take us. Notice the process. It begins with, they would not hear. Now, if you will not hear, you are going to get stiff-necked, stubborn. If you are told this thing now, and you don't do it, you are told again, and you don't do it, you are told again, what is that going to make you? Stubborn. You do not want to hearken unto the words that are given to you. And if you do not want to hearken, then you are going to take away everything that makes you accountable to hear and obey. And what is these everything? His statutes, and his covenant, and his testimonies you will reject. This is how believers take their time and become reprobate, and reach into a point where they become a standstill. Because if you're hearing these things that you hear today and you repent, good for you. Repent means turn around and move away from it. But if you continue the same, this is the process that's going to take you. And this is why many people move away from our channel. Because our channel is a channel that convicts you. Almost every week we teach, the channel convicts us. Yes? Even me who is reading this, I might remember something that I did or I've done and I'm like, oh. It is hard, but it is good. Because it makes those of us who are seeking righteousness to be able to find it. But most people who do not want to hear become stubborn. What they do, they stop listening to us. They stop listening to us. Because what? They do not want to hear his statutes and his covenants and his testimonies. And what is going to happen to them after? In the middle of 15. And they followed vanity and became vain. So lacking self-control is going to lead to all of this. So if people are listening to this and any form of self-control, you have to repent. Lacking in self-control. Or else you're going to follow vanity and become vain. And we will be there trying to tell you, you must deny yourself, and you cannot do it. The reason you cannot do it is because you have become vain. Which the help for this is Matthew 16:24. If any man come after me, let him deny himself. When you deny yourself, no, you will not be vain because you no longer live for yourself. You become a slave to Yahusha HaMashiach, picking up your stake, the troubles that comes with him, and follow after him. Yeah? and went after the heathen that were round about them. So you know gone after the ways of the world. And you are gone into what? Vanity. And you're gone into what? Idolatry. Continue at verse 16.
And they left all the commandments of Yahuwah, their allure, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshipped all the hosts of heaven, and served Baal.
Yeah, and they serve God. That's what happens in this time. To follow Yahuwah is not easy. So many people find a different version of him to follow. The version that we are following is the true Yahuwah. It is following his words to the T, letting his words convict us and to change us. Many people reject him and find a milder version of him to follow. Yes? And a milder version of him, for example, Yahweh. With Yahweh, you actually just have to obey his commandments, and you can have scant regard for his son, and you're still good. With God, again, you can do everything that you want. Whatever you want, how you want to worship him, you worship him. G-O-D. Verse 17.
And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of Yahuwah, to provoke him to anger.
All right. You know, another one version of divination that is very popular is in the Christian church. When they come and every day to you, I don't even know how they say it anymore. They say, next month is your month. This year is your year. Yeah, all of those things you see are divinations. Yeah. God tell me to tell you. And some things that they say, God tell them to tell them. You know that is not Yahuwah Sabaoth. Yeah. And they tell the people, and then the crowd whips up in a frenzy, and yeah, everybody, yes, God tell me to tell you that this is in your future, and you're gonna get this, and everybody in the crowd starts, yes, Jesus, and you see them, oh yes, yeah. Divination. Yes, yes, open the car door, it is yours. Those are divination, my people. This is what happens when we do not want to hear the word of Yahuwah. And what happened when this happened? Verse 18.
Therefore, Yahuwah was very angry with Yasharal, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Yehudah only.
And continue.
Also Yehudah kept not the commandments of Yahuwah their allure, but walked in the statutes of Yasharal which they made. And Yahuwah rejected all the seed of Yasharal, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight.
Hey, Father. You see when you don't obey the Most High. Verse 21.
For he rent Yasharal from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king. And Jeroboam drave Yasharal from following Yahuwah, and made them sin a great sin.
So the Most High will put before you a bad way. If you do not. People, we have to repent of lack of self-control. The Most High will give us a false way. As he said in Psalms 81, Yasharal would not hear my voice, and my people would none of me. So I gave them up to their own heart's lust, and they walked in their own counsels. This is what happens here. Verse 22.
For the children of Yasharal walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did. They departed not from them, until Yahuwah removed Yasharal out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants the prophets. So was Yasharal carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day.
All right. So we're going to look at the process of Adam's sin. Remember we said because of Adam's sin, sin passed unto all men. We're going to go back to that chain. Sin passed unto all men. So because sin passed unto all men because of Adam's sin, the Most High had a plan in place in that he would send his son, the second Adam, to actually take us out of the sins of the first Adam. But before he did that, he gave us a law. Shaul spoke about the Torah, or the law. He says the law was our schoolmaster to bring us to Hamashiach. So the strategy of the Most High was to first give us a law, and the law would speak of Hamashiach to come. And that law was a placeholder, because the Most High gives us covenants that are relevant to the particular times that we are in. So that covenant that he gave at that time was better than the Noahide laws that he gave. And so he was pointing to a time when mankind would be perfected, totally perfected before him. So he gave us the Torah to prepare us for his son. Galatians 3, verse 19. Galatians 3, 19.
Wherefore then serveth the law? It was added because of transgressions, till the seed should come to whom the promise was made. And it was ordained by angels in the hand of a mediator.
All right. So it was ordained by angels in the hand of a mediator. That mediator was Moses. So the mediator now of this new covenant that we are in is Yahusha HaMashiach, as it said in the book of Hebrews. So the law was given until HaMashiach. 1 Corinthians 15:21. Death through Adam, life through HaMashiach.
For as in Adam all die, even so...
No. 1 Corinthians 15:21.
For since by man came death, by man came also the resurrection of the dead.
So Adam made us die, HaMashiach made us resurrected from the death. 1 Corinthians, verse 22.
For as in Adam all die, even so in HaMashiach shall all be made alive.
So the law had a drawback in that the law stirs up sin in us. And I think we looked at it this morning in our teaching about, and we have done it many times here, how the law stirs up sin in us. You can go and check it for yourself. Romans 7, verses 7 to 12. But we will not do it now. We have done it so many times. All right? So because the law stirs up sin in us, and I think we need a few verses as foundation. Romans 7, verses 7 to 12.
What shall we say then? Is the law sin? Yahuwah forbid. Nay, I had not known sin, but by the law. For I had not known lust, except the occasion, by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence. For without the law, sin was dead. For I was alive without the law once, but when the commandments came, sin revived, and I died. And the commandment, which was ordained to life, I found to be unto death. For sin, taking occasion by the commandment, deceived me, and by it slew me. Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just, and good.
Oh, verse 11 was what we did this morning in our morning fellowship. I'm just realizing it. The Most High is great. So the Most High wants us to emphasize this sinful nature. Yeah? It's not by coincidence, because in our morning teachings, in our morning fellowship, we ask someone here to just suggest a verse. And then we teach around that verse for probably less than an hour. That is our target time. And the verse for this morning was Romans 7:11. For sin taking occasion by the commandment deceived me, and by it slew me. This sinful nature, this propensity to sin that is in Adam, came to us. Yeah. This sinful nature comes to us to deceive us and to kill us, because the wages of sin is death. So without self-control, sin is going to take occasion by the commandment. So you're going to hear, thou shalt not. And there's something inside of you that, thou shalt not, no, I'm going to do it. And you will not consciously say you're not going to do it. You will even say you're not going to do it. But by the time you notice, you end up doing what you are not to do. This is a sinful nature. Without the self-control that comes through Yahusha HaMashiach, we are going to fall prey to this, and we are going to sin. So the law stirs up sin in us, in that whenever we hear that we must not do something, that sinful nature, the law of sin and death that is operating within us, will let us do that which we are not to do. And this is where our trial is. Will we be able to not do that which we are tempted to do? That is the test of mankind. So, because the law stirs up sin in us, we have to be reborn. We have to be reborn. Because remember, we were born with the sinful tendencies of our father, Adam. So in order for us to overcome these sinful tendencies, we cannot be as we were born. We have to be born again. We have to be reborn. John 3:3.
Yahusha answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of Elohim.
He cannot see the kingdom of Elohim except a man be born again. There's no other way. There's no middle road. You have to be reborn. And you have to be reborn from the first Adam and born again into the new Adam. Because the new Adam is who he gave us to take us away from death. That is why the first Adam, the wages of sin, is death. But with the second Adam, the gift of Elohim is what? Eternal life. So the second Adam gives us life. The first Adam gives us death. The second one gives us life. Because when our lives lack self-control, we are controlled by the devil. That's why you have to be born again. By default, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. By default, we come into this wicked world. We are nurtured in their wicked Babylonian system that is meant to make us even more wicked than ever. We grow up in wickedness, and we grow up in the hands of the devil. Because in going after our own desires, we are going after our fleshly, earthly, sensual desires, which are, in the book of James, it says it is devilish. Devilish. So because we grow up in this devilish system, when our lives lack the self-control that it produces, we are controlled by the devil. Ephesians 2, verses 2 to 3.
Wherein, in time past, ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air.
Wait. Now he's talking to believers. But he's saying, in time past before you, you walk according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, Belial, according to Hasatan. This is how you walked. This is how we are by default, people. This is why we have to be born again. Continue.
The Spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience.
This Belial, the prince of the power of the air, he works in those of us who are disobedient. That is why we tell you about the angel of wickedness, the angel of iniquity. When you are there to make your decision, if the self-control is not the heart of your decision, you are going to walk according to the devil. You are going to walk according to error, according to the prince of the power of the air, whose angels are behind you in the spiritual realm, encouraging you to do that which is wrong. Ho, ho, ho. Continue in verse 3.
Among whom also
We all,
had our conversation in time past,
in the lusts of our flesh,
fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind,
and were by nature,
and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others.
you see, without Hamashiach, this is us. And we cannot have Hamashiach unless we do what? Deny ourselves. You see? What does verse 4 say? I don't have it on this.
But Yahuwah, who is rich in mercy, for his great love wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together with Hamashiach. By grace ye are saved.
You see? So it's Hamashiach that rescues us from the prince of the power of the air, from Belial. That is why we have to be born again. So Allah allowed us an escape. Continue in Ephesians through Yahusha. Continue in Ephesians 2, verses 4 to 10.
But Yahuwah, who is rich in mercy, for his great love wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together with Hamashiach. By grace ye are saved, and hath raised us up together, and made us sit together in heavenly places, in Hamashiach Yahusha, that in the ages to come he might show the exceeding riches of his grace in his kindness towards us, through Hamashiach Yahusha. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of Allah.
So the Most High gave us this great gift for us to rescue us from ourselves. Yeah, go ahead. To rescue us from ourselves. And verse 9 says, not of works, lest any man should boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Hamashiach Yahusha, unto good works, which Allah had before ordained that we should walk in them. So we are created unto good works. And where does that good work come in with our self-control? When you have self-control, you are going to be fashioning your lives to do that which is right in the eyes of the Most High. So it is Hamashiach Yahusha that fashions us unto good works, so that we can have a new life of self-control in Hamashiach Yahusha. Verses 17 to 32. The new life of self-control. Verse 18. For through him we both have access by one Ruach unto the Father. Now therefore ye are no, I didn't have this in. No, it's wrong. I don't know what I'm doing here. It's the wrong verses. 17 to 32, there's no 32. I don't know where it is. But, so, even after Yahusha, the sinful nature is able to still keep drawing us back into sin. You see that sinful nature that we spoke about in Romans 7? That when I want to do good, evil presents itself. That which I want to do, I cannot do it. But that which I do not want to do, that is what I end up doing. Yeah? The sinful nature is able to still keep drawing us back into sin, even after we have Yahusha HaMashiach. Verse 20. For if after they have escaped the pollutions of the world through the knowledge of the Master and Savior Yahusha HaMashiach, they are again entangled therein and overcome, the latter end is worse with them than the beginning. This is very scary. For it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than after they have known it to turn from the set-apart commandments delivered unto them. But it is happened unto them according to the true proverb, the dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the sow that was washed to her wallowing in the mire. Man, this is serious. So when we turn away from the set-apart commandment, and I don't believe that this is speaking about you making an error because the Most High is merciful. It is making gross errors, becoming stiff-necked and hard-hearted. Yeah? Rebelling against the Most High. Dog returned to his vomit. Now in the book of the Shepherd of Hermas, page 19, let me get Hermas going here. Hermas, page 19. 19. What did they say? Chapter 16, verses 1 to 8. Yes. In the book of Shepherd of Hermas, it speaks about control being the daughter of Emunah. Now, it may all make sense, self-control being the daughter of Emunah. Why? Because it requires Emunah to have self-control. When you are being pulled away by your own desires, it requires Emunah to give you the strength to be able to resist. So the deeper, it says, Emunah cometh from hearing, and hearing by the word. So here is the thing now. The more you hear the word, the more self-control you will be able to have. And when I say hear the word, I don't mean just hearing and it goes here and goes there. Hearing is actually doing, and it says be doers of the word, not hearers only. So when you do the word, then you will be likely to have more what? Emunah. And when you have more Emunah, you will have more self. She said to me, would you like to see something else? Pardon? Oh. Oh, it's back on. All right. YouTube is on? All right. All right, sorry about that little break. When I stopped asking her about all these things, she said to me, would you like to see something else? Being very eager to see more, I was quite happy to look. Looking at me, she smiled and said to me, do you see 7 women around the tower? I see them, lady, I said. This tower is supported by them by the master's command. Now hear about their functions. The first of them, the woman with the strong hands, is called Emunah, or faith. Through her, Alua's elect are saved. By grace are you saved through Emunah. The second, who is dressed for work and has a manly appearance, is called self-control. She is the daughter of Emunah. Those who follow her will be barak in their life, because they will refrain from all evil deeds, believing that if they refrain from every evil desire, they will inherit eternal life. Look at those words. Believing that if they refrain from every evil desire, they will inherit eternal life. The radio. All right. I don't know. Should still be on. Maybe it's the reception. All right. So self-control, the daughter of Emunah. Now, Emunah saves the elect. But it says the second, who is dressed for work. That means with Emunah, self-control has to be working constantly. So you believe, but self-control is right there defending emunah. And has a manly appearance. What's the significance of a manly appearance? No emotions. No emotions. We will not be thinking about this and that and that and this. Yeah? She is the daughter of Emunah. Those who follow her will be barak in their life. So when we have self-control in our life, the Most High, and if you want to know about self-control, if you go to the textbook, the different testaments, they tell you about Joseph. And what do they speak about? Joseph's what? Self-control. And it showed you how the Most High protected him for all his life because of his self-control. So we have to learn people to exercise self-control. And this self-control will make the Most High send protection for us. Boy. And who are the others? Verse 5. And who are the others, lady? They are daughters of one another, and they are sincerity, knowledge, innocence, reverence, and love. So when you do all the works of their mother, you will be able to live. I would like to know, lady, I said, what power each of them has. Listen, she said, to the powers that they have. Their powers are controlled by one another. So you cannot say you have emunah and you don't have self-control. You see? You see, emunah is one of the things that many of us talk about. Every time you talk to people, oh, I have faith. Everybody defends their emunah. I don't know what it is about emunah. But faith is not isolated. If you have emunah, you're going to have self-control. You're going to be sincere. You're going to have knowledge. You're going to be innocent. You're going to be reverent. And you're going to have love. All of these work together. Yeah? Yes. Their powers are controlled by one another, and they follow one another in the order in which they were born. From emunah is born self-control. From self-control, sincerity. From sincerity, innocence. From innocence, reverence. From reverence, knowledge. And from knowledge, love. Their works, therefore, are pure and reverent and set apart. So whoever serves these and has the strength to master their works will have a dwelling in the tower with the saints of the Most High. You see how important self-control is. And who is talking about self-control? Not many of us talk about it. It said emunah and self-control again. Let's look at emunah and self-control because we like to say we have emunah. Page 29 of the book, The Shepherd of Hermas, and of course, you can download the Shepherd of Hermas from our website. Just a word, .org, go to the downloads page. All right? So, verses 1 to 2, chapter 26, commandment 1. And it says, first of all, believe that Allah is one, who created all things and set them in order. Now the question, what was the question? We won't go there. First of all, believe that Allah is one, who created all things and set them in order and made out of what did not exist everything that is, and who contains all things but is himself alone uncontained. And by the way, this looks at Yahuwah being one, because Yahusha Mashiach is the firstborn of all creation. Therefore, Yahusha was created by Yahuwah. He's not Yahuwah. Let me read it again and you bear this in mind. Listen to what it's saying. First of all, believe that Allah is one. Not no 3 in 1 or 1 in 3 or 2 and 1, 1 plus 1. He is Ahad. He is one. Who created all things and set them in order and made out of what did not exist everything that is, and who contains all things but is himself alone uncontained. Believe in him, therefore, and fear him, and fearing him, exercise what? self-control. When you fear Yahuwah, exercise self-control. Observe these things, and you will cast off all evil from yourself. And will put on every virtue of righteousness, and will live to Alua if you observe this commandment. So if you fear Yahuwah, believe that he is one. And this is where the spirit of anti-Messiah comes in, believing that Yahusha is Yahuwah. Believe that Yahuwah is one is very integral to our salvation. Very important. So if you are listening to this and you believe Yahusha is Yahuwah and Yahusha is Trinity or whatever, you haven't even begun to start to serve the Most High. Commandment 1 says, first of all, the first thing that you need to know is to believe that Yahuwah is one. And then you fear him and you exercise self-control. That is your way to keep you in righteousness and to cast off all evil. Why do you think we struggle with righteousness, people? Because these basic things that we are told to do, we do not do them. Most of us are in religion. We decide what we want to follow and we follow it. Yeah, because we lack understanding, because we do not seek to do his commandments. Okay? Let me continue. So let's look at the saving power of self-control. Hermas, Commandment 8, chapter 38. The saving power of self-control. Page 4A or 40. The saving power of self-control. What did he say? Commandment 8? Yeah. Yeramiel, can you come and read for us in the meantime, please? Yeah, because I can... Yeah, go ahead.
Start from 38.
Yeah, from verse 8. Go ahead.
Self-control. I mentioned to you, he said, that the creatures of Alua are twofold, because self-control is also twofold. For in some things it is necessary to exercise self-control, but in some things it is not necessary. Inform me, sir, I said, about what things it is necessary to practice self-control, and in what things it is not necessary. Listen, he said, be self-controlled regarding evil, and do not do it. But do not be self-controlled regarding good, but do it.
So self-control is twofold. So most of the time when we're talking about self-control, we're talking about self-control over evil. Continue.
For if you exercise self-control regarding what is good, and do not do it, you commit a great sin. But if you exercise self-control regarding evil, so as not to do it, you achieve great righteousness. Exercise self-control, therefore, over all evil, and do what is good. And do what is good. Can I read back that part again?
Yeah.
Exercise self-control, therefore, over all evil, and do what is good. Sir, I responded, what are the kinds of evils over which it is necessary for us to exercise self-control? Listen, he said, adultery and fornication, lawless drunkenness.
That drunkenness there, that is what we're going to look at after. Remember, the teaching is about drunkenness and self-control. Continue.
Wicked luxury, many kinds of food, and the extravagance of wealth, and boasting, and snobbery, and arrogance, and lying, and slander, and hypocrisy, malice, and all blasphemy.
Look at that list there, people.
It's a lot.
You see when um even when I'm here talking about food and I'm telling you to make food basic, you see it? Many kinds of food. That's why I'm always saying make the food basic. Don't come too fancy. Because we know the extravagance of wealth is not with us, and boasting and snobbery and arrogance is another one, danger. And lying and slander and hypocrisy is another big one there. And slander, these are easy things among believers, malice and all blasphemy. Read the first sentence in verse 4.
These actions are the most wicked of all in human life.
Man. No. Many kinds of food is referred to as the most wicked of all in human life. Think about it. That's why you hear me talking about food. Don't worry about the food, whatever we eat. Think about it. Many kinds of food. Read 4 again, please, and continue.
These actions are the most wicked of all in human life. So the servant of Allah must exercise self-control over these works. For the one who does not exercise self-control over these is not able to live to Allah. Listen also, therefore, to the things that...
Hold on. I need that last part. For the one who does not exercise self-control over these is not able
to live to Allah.
Continue.
Listen also, therefore, to the things that follow them. Why, sir, I said, are there still other evil practices? Indeed, there are many, he said, over which a servant of Allah must exercise self-control. Theft, lying, robbery, perjury, greed, lust, deceit, vanity, pretentiousness, and whatever else is like these.
Wow. So, in other words, the list is not exhausted. Anything similar to these, we have to exercise self-control over them. You see how we have been deceived in religion because they told us that these books we must not read them. But when you read them, it brings common sense. Common sense is like, but we should have known that. But we don't know that because religion does not tell us that, and the other books do not go into detail. So the Most High gives us these books. But when we are in school, and we are doing a subject in school, we go to the library and we get things that give more detail. When we give those things that give more detail, we get high marks in class for giving more detail. Yet when it comes to the way of the Most High, when we now go and have sources that we can research to give us more detail, they say, no, don't read them.
It's hiding the truth.
Hiding the truth from us. Continue.
Do you not think that these things are evil? Indeed, to the servants of Allah, they are very evil, he said. In all these things, the one who serves Allah must exercise self-control. Exercise self-control, therefore, over all these things, so that you may live to Allah, and be enrolled with those who exercise self-control over them. These, then, are the matters in which you must exercise self-control.
But now he's going to tell us the things that we must not exercise self-control over. That's why he says in Galatians 5:22-23, against such there is no law. That means no restraint on self-control. So he's telling you the same thing here. When he says you must not exercise self-control over them, it means there's no restraint whatsoever over these things. Verse 7.
But now listen, he said, to those things in which you must not exercise self-control, but do them. Do not exercise self-control over the good, but do it. Explain to me, I said, the power of the good things also, so that I may walk in them and serve them. In order that by doing them I may be able to be saved.
Yep.
Hear, he said, about the works of good things which thou must do, and toward which you must not exercise self-control. First of all, there is faith, fear of Yahuwah, love, harmony, words of righteousness, truth, patience. Nothing is better than these in human life.
All right. Continue.
Those who keep these things and do not exercise self-control over them will be blessed, baraked in their life.
Continue.
Next, here are the things that follow these: serving widows, looking after orphans and those in need, delivering Alua's servants from distress, being hospitable, for the practice of hospitality results in doing good, I presume, opposing no one, being quiet, becoming more needy than all other men, respecting the elderly, practicing righteousness, preserving the bond of fellowship, enduring insults,
You see?
being patient, bearing no grudges, encouraging those who are sick at heart, not throwing out those who have stumbled, but turning them around and encouraging them, admonishing sinners, and not oppressing debtors and those in need, and whatever else is like these.
That's a very long, very long set of things. We can look at them now. Hopefully another time we look at them. Continue.
Do you not think, he said, that these things are good? Why, sir, I replied, what can be better than these? Then walk in them, he said, and do not exercise self-control over them, and you will live to Alua. So keep this commandment. If you do good and do not exercise self-control in this respect, you will live to Alua. Indeed, all who do so will live to Alua. And again, if you do not do evil and do exercise self-control over it, you will live to Alua. Indeed, all who keep these commandments and walk in them will live to Alua.
All right. Wow. The saving power of self-control. So, in the book of Luke, Hamashiach showed us three main threats to self-control in the end times, and we're going to look at one of them, which is drunkenness. That's what we're going to look at next. Drunkenness. Luke 21:34. Read it, please.
And take heed to yourself, lest any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting
1,
and drunkenness
2,
and cares of this life,
3.
and so that they cometh upon you unawares. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth.
So 3 different threats there: surfeiting, drunkenness, and cares of this life. And we are going to finish up this tie-in self-control with drunkenness. All right, just one of them. Verse 36.
Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man.
All right. So, drunkenness in Lucas 21:34. What does it mean? What are you going? Where are you going? Drunkenness, intoxicant, that is by implication intoxication. Intoxication. Now, intoxication is used in the Bible heavily by the Most High. He said many times that he will make you drunken. He uses wine and the intoxication of wine to show us the similitude of our walk or our salvation of our lives in this world. So the Testament of Judah tells us about wine, literal wine, and we're going to look at the spiritual connotations to wine to our lives today. Because we can be in drunkenness, we can be in intoxication in this time by how we live in this world. Yeah? How we live in this world. Because this world can make us drunken. You are drunk when you have no self-control. The connection, let me go to the beginning. The connection between drunkenness and self-control is that when you are drunken, you lack control. You're under the influence of quote-unquote spirits. That's what they call the wine, the rum, whatever intoxicant there is. And it's the same thing for us. We are under the control of spirits when we are drunken. And the spirits we are under control are the spirits of Belial. These are devils, demons of this world. Now, when we are under control of a physical intoxicant, we are incoherent. When we're talking, people cannot even understand us. We talk what? Foolishness. When you're under spiritual drunkenness, it's the same thing. You're going to be there talking foolishness, thinking you're good. When you're drinking wine, you're talking foolishness, thinking that you're right. And you're there thinking, and talking foolishness, and think you're good. Now, when you are, another one, when you're under the influence of wine, you're not only talking foolishness, but you are staggering, which means you cannot walk straight. Spiritually, when you cannot walk straight, you're going to be all over the place. Because remember, as believers, we are what? Followers of what? The way. So if you are drunken with this world, you cannot follow the way. Because the way is what? Narrow. When you are drunken, one of the tests of a drunken man, when the police stop you, they walk a straight line. Walk a straight line. When you are drunken, you cannot walk the straight line. So you cannot walk the narrow path. You need a wide path. A drunken man needs a wide path to walk. A man who is not drunken can put one foot before the other and walk in a straight line. A drunken man cannot do that. When you are drunken, you cannot think clearly. You think foolishness. You cannot be reasoned with. All of these things, drunkenness is so similar to spiritual. Nobody can reason with you. You think you know, and you don't know. When you are drunken, you will reveal deep secrets. When someone is led by the Ruach, that person will know what to speak and what not to speak. When a person is not drunken, they will be able to be nice and calm, and they will know what to say and what not to say. When they are drunken, they say if you want to know what a man thinks is in his heart, just make him drunk. He spills all the beans and talks all sorts of foolishness. Yes? When a man is drunken, he doesn't even care for his own life. Have you ever seen sometimes people get drunken and they just jump in the car? They can hardly walk. I remember one time as a little boy, when I went to spend holiday with my aunt, and there was a man there. When the man drove the car up to the beach, we went to the beach. When the man came out of the car, the man was staggering, and the woman had to be holding him. And I cannot forget, I said, how can this man drive? No, there was a set of stairs to go down to the beach. And the man was struggling down the stairs, and I was a little boy. He's going to fall. The man did not fall. When they were finished bathing and he went back up, he came back and he jumped back in the car and he drove away. Drunk. Yeah? That's drunkenness. You think you are in control, but you're not. And how many times have we heard about the statistics about drinking and driving? How many times have we heard accidents and the police have to do a breathalyzer? And when you check the breathalyzer, the person is drunken. When you are drunken, you think you're on the right path. Think about it spiritually. You think you're on the right path. Nobody can tell you that you're not on the right path. And that's how it is with religion. Drunken. Because the more you go into the truth and the more you see Christianity, you say, how can people believe that religion? Drunk. They are drunk with the wine of Babylon. Nobody can tell them that they are not right. And they have apologetics and they will argue day in, day out, every day about their Christian and believe in their Jesus that is coming to rapture them away. No matter how you talk to them. Drunk. It's the same thing with wine. Let's go back down to Testament of Yahuda, page 35, 13:4 to 14:8. Page 35. 13:4 to 13:8. What did I say? Page 35. 13:4. Read please. For I said,
Could you bring it down a little? For I said to my father-in-law, I will confer with my father, and then I will take your daughter. But since he was unwilling to delay, he showed me a measureless mass of gold, which was in his daughter's name. He decked her in gold and pearls, and made her pour out wine for us in a feast.
that's the danger of wine. Pour out wine. Don't let anybody pour out wine to you. That is why when some people send all sorts of videos from all over, I say, I'm not going to watch that. I'm not going to watch that. Because people are going to pour out wine and make you drunken. And you're going to start thinking, that is why I tell people, you have to find someone who is telling you the truth and just leave everybody else alone. Because this world is full of this wine. People pouring out wine onto you to make you drunken. Continue.
The wine perverted my eyesight. Pleasure darkened my heart.
You see? When you follow these wines, the wine will what? Pervert your eyesight. You are no longer able to see clearly. That is why sometimes some people come to me and I said, why are you listening to people? They come to me, some things, they will be listening and they'll be getting the teachings and the understandings. And then guess what they do? Itching ears, gone all over, gone listen to other people. And then I end up now having to do videos or audio clips to try to get them back into M&R. Stop it! We tell it all over and over again. Stop listening to everybody out here. You get drunken with the wine. You know how many times I've had to do audio clips for people? Because I see that they're being pulled away into deception. And when they get the audio clips, they say, oh. Come on. Yeah, when they get the audio clips, they say, oh.
Testament of Judah.
The wine perverted my eyesight.
Wait.
Pleasure darkened my heart. Verse 7 says, I longed for her and lay with her. Thus I transgressed Yahuwah's command and that of my father when I took her as my wife. In the book of Proverbs chapter 7, it tells you about the strange woman. The strange woman in Proverbs is speaking about the religion of Christianity today. And when you take a strange woman for your wife, you will transgress the commandments of Yahuwah. Verse 8. And Yahuwah repaid me according to the rashness of my soul, because I had no delight in her children. Verse 14, verse 1. Are you there?
Yes.
Go ahead. And now?
And now, children, I tell you, do not be drunk with wine, because wine perverts the mind from the truth, arouses the impulses of desire, and leads the eyes into the path of error.
You see drunkenness? Perverts the mind from the truth. Arouses the impulses of desire. Self-control there is in danger. And leads the eye into the path of error. Self-control. The lack thereof of self-control leads you into error. Verse, how many verses did I say? 14 or to 8. Continue.
For the ruach of promiscuity has wine as its servant, for the indulgence of the mind.
So what is this ruach of promiscuity for us spiritually? Itching ears. Itching ears. All over the place, listening to all different type of people. Going according to what? Itching ears goes according to your own lusts. It says, upon their own lust shall they heap for themselves teachers, having itching ears. That's promiscuity. What does it say about the ruach of promiscuity? Read 14:2 again, please.
For the ruach of promiscuity has wine as its servant, for the indulgence of the mind.
You see? Just think about it. The drunkenness that is out there, the intoxication, promiscuity as its wine as its servant. So when you go about going after people, listening to this and listening to that, people, and we are not saying that we have every truth and we are the perfect this and perfect that, but what we are saying is the Most High's principle is that He brings you to a teacher who will teach you that which you need to know. You have to know, and there are many false teachers. There's a famine of the word. You have to know and make sure that whomever is teaching you is not drunk with the wine of Babylon, is not drunk with the wine of promiscuity, or else that person will lead you astray. If you find someone that, even I'm telling you right now, if you find someone who is telling you the truth and you are with that person who is telling the truth, leave us alone and go and listen to that person if you think that person is telling the truth. You cannot be all over the place, or else the ruach of promiscuity will get you, which is itching ears. And what is the result of itching ears? Go to 2 Timothy to see this promiscuity. 2 Timothy 4, verse 3.
For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lusts shall they heap to themselves teachers, having itching ears. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables.
So because of this ruach of promiscuity that this drunkenness brings upon them, they turn their ears from the truth and shall be turned unto fables. And this lack of self-control is what the Most High told us in the book of Psalms 81, when He told us that my children would not hear any of me, so I gave them up to what? Their own heart's lust, and they walked in what? Their own counsels. This is the itching ears. All over the place. On Shabbat, by the time you're done here, you're gone elsewhere, you're gone elsewhere, you're gone elsewhere. All over the place, having what? Itching ears. Let's go back down to wine, drunkenness, and self-control. Continue in the book of Yahusha 14:3, I think we were.
If any one of you drink wine to the point of drunkenness, your mind is confused by sordid thoughts, and your body is kindled by pleasure to commit adultery. Thus he commits sin and is unashamed.
You see that drunkenness? Drinks wine to the point of drunkenness. So you can drink wine physically and even spiritually. But to the point of drunkenness, to the point of being incoherent, of being carried away, of being lost, of being confused, of being all of those things. Your mind is confused by sordid thoughts, and this is when you go out there to hear all sorts of people. You have people here who, how many times to my feed, I have to be sorting out things that people have heard. And then I have to keep telling people, stop asking me about what these people say. I have already told you, we have already told you here what you need to hear. Why are you going out there and then comparing what we said to what they said? What are you trying to see? Who is better? We are not in any competition. We tell you what the Most High has laid on our hearts, and that's it. Yeah? You go out there now in drunkenness and now you become confused. And then we who told you in the first place have to now try to be sorting out this thing. If this one thing that I hate is people coming in my newsfeed to ask me things that they have heard elsewhere. Stay where you are tied. Yes?
Yes.
What do they have a saying in Jamaica? What they say? The cow must feed where it is tied. You know what that's saying? Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. So, your body is kindled by pleasure to commit adultery, thus he commits sin and is unashamed. So when you get involved in drunkenness, you become unashamed. And that is that with sin. When you are drunk, you are not ashamed of what you do. When people tell you afterward what you did, that is when you feel ashamed. I can't believe that was me. And then we might reach to the point of drunkenness when you do not care. That's when it comes to what? Alcoholism. Where the drunkenness is now an accepted part of our lives. Verse 4.
Such is the drunkard, my children.
He who is drunken has respect for no one. No one whatsoever. So those people out there who are drunk with the wine of Babylon, they have no respect for anyone, because we're going to look at the wine of Babylon, because the Most High made us drunk with the wine of Babylon. We're going to look at that quickly. Verse 5.
See, even I was deceived, so that I was not ashamed before the throng in the city. Because before the eyes of all I turned aside to Tamar, and committed a great sin, and disclosed to my sons my acts of uncleanliness.
So when you are drunken, you're not going to have any shame. No shame at all. And you are going to commit great sins before people and not even care. That is why you have religious people today. They commit great sin and they don't even care. Verse 6.
When I had drunken wine, I flouted shamelessly Elohim's command and took the Canaanite woman. He who drinks wine needs much perception, my children, and this is the perception the wine drinker requires. So long as he is decent, he may drink.
All right. So long as he is decent. Now, you require perception when you're a drinker, physically. If you easily get drunk, don't drink. If you cannot control yourself, that when you start drinking and you realize, hey, I've had enough, you stop, don't drink. It's the same thing spiritually. So long as he's decent, he may drink. If you are able, for example, I am able to go and I look on what some teachings that these people are doing. I look on the teachings out there and it cannot shake me because of what I already know. And while I'm looking at it, I prove all things, hold fast that which is good, and I look at it and say, bam, 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 that doesn't match up, and that. Or we might say, okay, that is the truth because that matches up with that and that and that. So I am able to drink. But most people out there are not able to drink because it's going to get you confused. It's going to get you into drunkenness. Yeah? But verse 8 says, but if he exceeds the limit.
But if he exceeds the limit, the ruach of error invades his mind and makes the drunkard become foul-mouthed and Torahless. Yet rather be ashamed. He boasts in his dishonorable action and considers it to be fine.
There we go. So when we exceed our limit, it means we do what? We act out of lack of self-control. No self-control. And what does lack of self-control provide? You become foul-mouthed and lawless. Because remember, those who lack self-control cannot obey the commandments of the Most High. And boast in our dishonorable action, that is when now we have all sorts of false doctrines and we boast in these false doctrines. Yahusha is Yahuwah, being one of them. Yeah? And considers it to be fine. So, figurative drunkenness. And it makes us walk blindly, believing wrong to be right. Deuteronomy 29:18. When we are in drunkenness spiritually, we are going to walk blindly, believing wrong to be right. And this is very common sense. Because the Most High says he will let you walk in your own heart's lust and walk in your own counsels. Let's see an example of that. Deuteronomy 28, start at verse 18.
Cursed shall be the fruit of
No, Deuteronomy 28 verse 18, sorry. 29 verse 18.
Oh.
Man, oh man. What's wrong with you? 29, 18.
Lest there should be among you man, or woman, or family, or tribe, whose heart turneth away this day from Yahuwah our Eluah, to go and serve the gods of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that beareth gall and wormwood.
So we are in unrighteousness, right? But we are going to deceive ourselves that we are in righteousness. This is the whole principle of this. This is drunkenness. Being in unrighteousness and thinking we are in righteousness. Continue, verse 19.
And it come to pass, when he heareth the words of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of mine heart.
To do what?
To add drunkenness to thirst.
To add what? Drunkenness to thirst. So the thirst was that the Most High had separated himself from them for going after the gods. The drunkenness is believing that they are good. They are okay. Though they walk in the imagination of their heart. So when you tell people today that they're following false doctrines, they don't listen to you. They don't, because they are what? In drunkenness, blindness, adding drunkenness to thirst. So this is why when people are in false religion, every day we get up and we talk about the false religions of Christianity and Hebrew Israelite. Every day we get up and people will hear that and they will come, no, listen, that, and why are you saying this? And don't. False religions. But they are blessing themselves, saying that they are good. I shall have peace. The Christians say we will be raptured away. The Hebrew Israelite says they are going into the kingdom, though they are in unrighteousness, adding drunkenness to thirst. So this lack of self-control will let us add drunkenness to thirst. Verse 20. What is the judgment? What is the judgment for adding drunkenness to thirst? For doing that which we just spoke about. Being in Christianity, in the false religion, refusing to hear and continuing in that mold. What is the judgment? Verse 20 of Deuteronomy 29.
Yahuwah will not spare him.
Yahuwah will not
Spare him.
But what?
But then the anger of Yahuwah and his jealousy shall smoke against that man.
Oh boy.
And all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him. And Yahuwah shall blot out his name from under heaven.
You see how this drunkenness thing here serious? You see how this drunkenness thing serious, people? Yahuwah will not spare him, but blot out his name from under Shamaim. Verse 21.
And Yahuwah shall separate him unto evil out of all the tribes of Yasharal, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of the law.
I want you to remember today, by the seaside, those people there. This is speaking about them. They're blessing themselves, saying that Yahuwah is with them. To add drunkenness to thirst. It says Yahuwah's anger will be upon them. This is what made me remember. Yahuwah shall separate him. When he said it will be put in two different.
Yes.
Out of all the tribes of Yasharal, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of the law. This is why the curses are so prevalent in South Africa. The people are going after the worship of familiar spirits and mixing it with the worship of the Most High. This year we're living this in South Africa right here. And that is why the curses are so heavy. And you have the white people prospering and our people here are not. Relative to the population. Of course you have people here prosper. But relative to the population, they are not. Yeah? Now remember, and let us not forget, the Most High gave us Babylon as a tool to make the earth drunken. Jeremiah 51:7. We must understand that we are brought up in Babylon. And we are brought up to be in drunkenness. Jeremiah 51:7.
Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahuwah's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad.
Therefore the nations are what?
Mad.
So the nations have drunken of her wine. So by default, we are in drunkenness. So born in sin and shaped in iniquity, born in drunkenness and shaped by wine of Babylon. Same thing. So the wine of Babylon is what has shaped us. This is why we need Hamashiach. And this is why when we receive Hamashiach, we have to do what? Go back to the old path, which is the good way, and you will find rest for your souls. We cannot be in the drunkenness of Babylon and then say we have Hamashiach and continue in Babylon. It doesn't make any sense. Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahuwah's hand. So all this drunkenness that we're talking about, this drunkenness is by default given to us in Babylon. So anything we receive from Babylon is drunkenness. So all nations are drunken with the wine of Babylon. Revelation 18:3.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
Okay. All nations have drunk of this wine of Babylon. Continue.
And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
No, the drunkenness of Babylon has less to do with physical wine and more to do with material things. That's on the physical side. And more to do on false religion on the spiritual side. In Revelation 17, it tells us about the false religion of Babylon, the woman, the whore of Babylon. This whore, let me go and look at Revelation 17. I didn't plan to go there, but this whore, let me get the Bible. Oh, yes. The whore of Babylon, Revelation 17. This woman is what is used to make the earth drunken. Verse 1.
And there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
The great prostitute that sits in many countries upon many waters. Christianity, the number one religion in the world, that sitteth upon many waters. Verse 2.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth
have been made drunk with the wine of her idolatry, of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. The kings are the leaders of the earth, most leaders of the earth. They are either Christians or Islam. Islam is an offshoot of Christianity, people. Yes? And also, Judaism is closely related. All of them, these religions are the religions of Babylon. Now, the kings of the earth have committed fornication because the kings of the earth are given their control through these religions. Which is why the kings of the earth, the different nations of the earth, have their religious organizations that control the religion. 501c3 in America. Jamaica Council of Churches. I don't know much about other countries, but I know that they are controlled by the state. So the state controls these religions because it controls the minds of the people and keep them subservient to the people. The Muslim nations, you'll hear that this country is Muslim and the leader is Muslim. They control and commit fornication and drunkenness through these religions. Verse 3.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls,
Roman Catholics.
having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
Catholicism.
And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
So this whore is the mother of all prostitutes. All of the false religions, Roman Catholicism is the mother. Notice what it says. The inhabitants of the earth have been drunk with the wine of her fornication or the wine of her idolatry. It is this woman that has made the earth drunken. Babylon. All right, let's go back. Where are we? Yeah. So we are brought into this drunkenness because of disobedience and unrighteousness. Ezekiel 23, verse 28 to 35. The children of Yasharal, we, us. This was not how our fathers were born. When our fathers were separated, were set apart in Yasharal, they were walking according to the ways of Yahuwah. And it was the nations that are always drunken with their fornication and idolatry. But because of our disobedience, the Most High allowed us to be brought into this fornication. Let's go to Ezekiel 20. That is when we are brought into captivity, and he told us that we will serve other gods, which we nor our fathers did know, gods of wood and stone. Verse 28. Read, please.
For thus saith Yahuwah Elohah, Behold, I will deliver thee into the hand of them whom thou hatest, into the hand of them from whom thy mind is alienated. And they shall deal with thee hatefully, and shall take away all thy labor,
Slavery.
and shall leave thee naked and bare.
Leave thee what? Naked and bare. Sinful. So coming out of our slavery and us at this time, we are naked and bare. This is why we have to go back to Yahuwah through Yahusha HaMashiach and go deeply into seeking out Yahuwah. Continue.
And the nakedness of thy whoredoms shall be discovered, both thy lewdness and thy whoredoms.
So the nakedness of our whoredoms, our idolatry, will be obvious. Verse 30.
I will do these things unto thee, because thou hast gone a whoring after the heathen, and because thou art polluted with their idols.
So when we come out of her, we have to reject the way of the heathen. We have to be set apart, as we looked at last week, and reject the ways of the heathen. In every single way, we have to reject their ways. Verse 31.
Thou hast walked in the way of thy sister, therefore will I give her cup into thine hand.
That cup of what? Drunkenness. That's Judah that he's talking about, that walked after the ways of the house of Yasharal. Verse 32.
Thus saith Yahuwah Elohah, Thou shalt drink of thy sister's cup deep and large. Thou shalt be laughed to scorn, and had in derision. It containeth much.
And what has happened to us? People ridicule us and rebuke us, laugh at us because of how worthless we are. They call us worthless and we are this and we are that. That's because of what the Most High has left us in, because of the sins of our fathers. We are the most idolatrous. We are the most unprofitable. We are the poorest. We are the ones who, there is nobody who struggle like us with unity. We cannot unite. We cannot come together. We don't love one another. We kill everything that is bad. That's because of the cup of drunkenness that we have been given. Verse 33.
Thou shalt be filled with drunkenness and sorrow, with the cup of astonishment and desolation, with the cup of thy sister Samaria.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt even drink it and suck it out, and thou shalt break the shreds thereof, and pluck off thine own breasts, for I have spoken it, saith Yahuwah Elohim.
So the worst case of drunkenness the Most High has put on us. Verse 35.
Therefore thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, because thou hast forgotten me, and cast me behind thy back, therefore bear thou also thy lewdness and thy whoredoms.
So when we come back to the Most High, he says, because thou hast forgotten me and cast me behind thy back. Now when we come back to the Most High, we have to put him before us, at the forefront. We cast him behind our back the first time. Now when we return to him, we have to put him at the forefront. That is why it says, and ye shall seek me and find me when ye shall search for me with all your heart. So with all your heart, you have to be pursuing him. So whatever it says we will do, we have to do. We have to return him. Is it in the Apocrypha? It says, we have left Yahuwah, now we return to him. We must seek him what? 10 times more. 10 times more. So, my people, beware of drunkenness. Go back to the Testament of Judah, page 36. Page 36, 16, 1 to 3. Those 3 verses. Page 36. What is it? Where did I say 1 to 3? Oh, 16, 1 to 3. Take care to be temperate.
Take care to be temperate with wine, my children, for there are in it 4 evil ruachot: desire, heated passion, debauchery, and sordid greed.
All right. So when we are in the drunkenness of Babylon, the drunkenness of false religion, it's going to give us desire. Why do you think Christianity thrives on prosperity doctrine? Think about it. Why do you think Christianity thrives on a sex? X. You hear about what happens between the Christian pastors. How many times have you heard Christian pastors involved in these things?
Scandals.
Yeah. And debauchery. And this, of course, is all Hebrew Israelites as well. The Hebrew Israelites' heated passion and debauchery and sordid grief is masked in what they call the polygyny. They have heated passion, sexual passion, and debauchery. They just want to just flaunt. So they come up and say, polygyny. It is okay for man to have multiple wives. They disregard everything that not all things that are lawful are expedient for us in this new covenant. Yet still, it is this: desire, heated passion, debauchery, and sordid greed. If any of these things are in us, people, you know that you're in false religion. But sometimes we cannot know because it is masked. It is masked by false doctrines. Yeah? Verse 2.
If you drink wine in merriment, showing due respect for the reverence of Elohim, you shall live. But if you drink without restraint, and the reverence of Elohim departs, the result is drunkenness, and shamelessness sneaks in.
You see? Lack of self-control. If you drink wine in merriment, showing respect for the reverence of Allah, that is self-control. You shall live. But if you drink it without restraint, that means without what? Self-control. And the reverence of Elohim departs, the result is what? Drunkenness and shamelessness sneaks in. That means sin. Shamelessness is when you do things without caring. That's sin. Verse 3.
But if you wish to live prudently, abstain completely from drinking, in order that you might not sin by uttering lewd words, by fighting, by slander, by transgressing Elohim's commandments, then you shall not die before your allotted time.
You see that thing? You can die before your allotted time. The Most High can give you a time. But what? The wages of sin is what? So because you choose sin, you have an allotted time, and because we choose sin, sin speeds up our death. So we die before the time. So everybody said, boy, you don't die before the time. This is telling you that you die before the time. You can die before your time. What a life this is. What do you think about it? No. It's a life that we can actually have some form of control over by our decision making. So the foolish people just live, oh, you have one life to live, so let's live it. And they go into all sorts of sin. Huh? That's drunkenness. And they go into all sorts of sin, and when they die, the people say, oh, he lived his best life. No, you died before the time allotted to you. Read 3 again, please.
But if you wish to live prudently, abstain completely from drinking, in order that you might not sin by uttering lewd words, by fighting, by slander, by transgressing Elohim's commandments, then you shall not die before your allotted time.
And people, we are telling you this. When you hear we talk about drunkenness and Babylon, we are talking about you now, wherever you are in Babylon. Yes? Abstain from drinking. That means do what? Come out of her, my people. Because when you are in Babylon, you cannot abstain from drinking, because Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahuwah's hand to make the earth drunken. The earth has become drunken, therefore the earth is mad. So you're going to be mad, which means that you're drunken and you're not even coherent as long as you remain in Babylon. There's a reason the Most High tells you to come out of her. Because Babylon will not stop being a golden cup in Yahuwah's hand until it is destroyed. So as long as you're in there, Babylon is a golden cup in Yahuwah's hand to make you drunk. So if you want to come out of the drunkenness, read verse 3 again. If you wish to live prudently, abstain completely from drinking. Come out of Babylon. Come out of her, my people. In order that you might not sin by uttering lewd words, by fighting, by slander, by transgressing Elohim's command. So as long as you are in Babylon, you are going to transgress the Most High's commands. And where does it say it? It says it in Revelation. It says it in Revelation, what you call it? 18. When it says to come out of her, it tells you why. 18:4, Revelation 18:4.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people.
Come out of the drunkenness.
That ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
You see it? As long as you say in the midst of Babylon, you're going to partake of her sins, and you're going to receive of her plagues. Yes, before the allotted time, you will die. So, let's look at the end time wine of the wrath of Alua that is in Babylon. Revelation 14, verses 6 to 12. Revelation 14, verses 6 to 12.
And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel, to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation, and kindred, and tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear Yahuwah, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven, and earth, and the sea, and the fountains of waters.
Drunkenness in verse 8.
And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
That's it. Drunkenness in Babylon. And he warned us to come out of her. Verse 9.
And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Allure, which is poured out
Without mixture.
into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
So if we don't come out of the drunkenness of Babylon, we are going to face the wine of Yahuwah. That's a choice. And this wine of Yahuwah is what? Great tribulation. In the end times, it is called Great Tribulation. Continue.
And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up for ever and ever. And they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name.
So, the worship of the beast or his image. The worship of the beast. You worship Babylon by you worship Babylon by refusing to let her go. Thinking that Babylon is you totally, absolutely must have Babylon. You must need Babylon. You have to stay there. You have to do this and you have to do that. That is Luke 21:34. Be careful of surfeiting, drunkenness, and cares of this life. So you are so attached to Babylon, you are afraid to rip yourself off. That is worship of the beast. Today, because the beast is setting up their system, and we have told you time and time again the type of system that they're setting up, their digital system, in which you have to partake of their injection and their digital ID in order to partake of their system. That is what you are refusing to let go. That is worship of the beast. Continue.
Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Allure and the faith of Hamashiach.
So the saints will be patient. The saints would have taken themselves out of Babylon and out of the drunkenness, and the rest of the people will be in this drunkenness. Verse 13. All right, we don't need 13 because it's kind of a different thing. So our remedy is in Revelation 18, 1-5. It always seems that we are ending now, and we always end up at the same place, isn't it? What a thing. You see, every scriptures at this time boil down to the same place. We can't help it. I'm very sorry. Revelation 18, 1-5, to escape drunkenness, in order to have self-control over our lives and not be brought down into drunkenness. Revelation 18, verses 1-5. This is Babylon at this time. And you know within yourselves that Babylon has fallen. You see Donald Trump doing all sorts of madness. Those things are engineered. These are their plans to bring this place into madness. Donald Trump is ushering in great tribulation upon this earth with wars and famines and everything. And the US dollar on the verge of collapsing. Everything is going south in the biggest economy of this world, in modern Babylon. Yeah? And you sit and you see all of these things happening, and you sit pretty in there. Man, you're good. If I can commend you for one thing, it's your faith in Babylon. That's I can. You're sitting in there. Oh, what you're doing in the back of your mind, you're hoping one day things are gonna get better. It's just gonna pass. It's these things happen all the time. Instead of seeking for the Most High's alternative, you just sit there. Pretty. according to Sleepy. Pretty. You sit there, pretty, and not strive to obey the words of the Most High. But Revelation 18:1 tells you the remedy. Read it, please.
And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
You have to try to keep your voice because I'm hearing it in this. It's well fading. You have to try to keep your voice at one standard. Like this. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul ruach, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Yes, so try to keep it at one level. So, because of this, habitation of devils, hold of every foul ruach, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird, Babylon is fallen, and those who are partaking are going to fall with it. Verse 3.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
And what's the solution?
And I heard another voice from heaven, saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
Why?
For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Lord hath remembered her iniquities.
So guess what? She's going to receive double for her sins. And if you are in there, you are going to also receive double for her sins. Because verse 6 says,
Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works, in the cup which she hath filled to her double.
That's why it says, Come out of her, my people. So, you know about people. Babylon, the golden cup in Yahuwah's hand. Yahuwah has put us and let us be partakers of Babylon. When we awaken, the Most High expects us now to just wake up and say, hey, this is Babylon and everything. We have been here every week telling you about Babylon and the different things about Babylon. The Most High expects us, when we know and understand about Babylon, we follow him and we come out of her. That is how we come out of the drunkenness, because Babylon is drunkenness. When you come out of drunkenness, then you are able now to see. The reason we are able to present these things is because we have come out of Babylon. We could not be able to give you the depths of these things and understanding if we were in Babylon, because we would have been drunken and caught up in the drunkenness. But because we are able to come out, we are able to look into things that most people don't even have time to look into in Babylon. I don't know what is happening, if there's another world out there that I am not seeing, but when I go on YouTube, the things that I'm seeing on YouTube are things that draw views. Yeah? When people see drunkenness and self-control, they're not going to want to click to listen to it. There's no sensationalism in it. So people don't create things like these because caught up in the wine of Babylon, they want to make money, they want to have viewership, they want their things to grow. So they give you topics that are stimulating, that are competing with the ways of this world. The ways of this world is to give you, what do they call? What's the term that they call it? Things that excite you. What? Sensationalism, that's it. They give you sensationalism in order to bring you. So, people, come out of her, my people. That's what we are always telling you. Look at what we did. Self-control and drunkenness. Most people caught up in the drunkenness of Babylon. The Most High gave us one remedy and that is to come out of her. If we do not come out of her, it says we will be partakers of her sins and we'll receive of her plagues. The reason being we're being partakers of her sins is that we will not have self-control, because Babylon is given to make sure that it takes self-control away from us. So not having self-control, we are not going to be able to obey the commands of the Most High. Not being able to obey the commands of the Most High, we will sin. And when we sin, our sin will lead us to death, and we will die before our allotted time. When we have self-control, then it protects us and cements us and puts a wall of protection around us from the Most High that will make us be protected from all evil. So people, come out of her, my people. Self-control, very, very important. One of the things that is hardly spoken about, but it is married to emanah, married to faith. And without it, you can say you have faith, but if that faith has no self-control, then we are going to sin. And if we sin, we will continue until we go into all different type of vanity and become vain, and then we will go into adultery, idolatry, fornication, and then we will totally be opposed to the Most High. Drunk with the wine of Babylon. All right? So thank you. And let me see if there are any questions or anything significant on YouTube. All right, shalom, shalom. All right, shalom, remnant child. All right. All right. Elder, is there any way you can be personally reached, perhaps via email or others? Man, almost every week I give my email here. And I tell you, go to our website, either jawradio.org or justaword.org, and just go to the contact form. When you enter the information in the contact form, it comes straight as an email to us. So any one of our websites. Yes? And just want to announce as well as we talk about websites. Just want to announce our Jah Prophecy, Just a Word Prophecy site. Please, you can search YouTube for Just a Word Prophecy. I wonder if I can let me see if I can get the link here. We have just started our prophecy website, our prophecy channel on YouTube.
Shalom, everyone.
And let me get the, oh no. All right. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Oh, I can put it here. All right, I will have to go on YouTube. I hear a little humming in the background. What kind of sound is that? Anyway. Oh. All right, let me wait until the, all right. Just a Word Prophecy channel. There we go. Please subscribe to our channel and don't let these long videos daunt you. Our prophecy channel has very short videos. Sometimes 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes. They are relatively short, and I know your time is precious. But these times are short, so you can just gobble them up one after the other. These are prophecies that have been given to people who are in our group, and several people here with the prophetic ruach. And so when the different prophecies are given, we will tabulate them here. And these prophecies impact what we kind of mirrors or bears witness to what we teach, and also things to do with the world. A lot of prophecies about the world and the end times and all of that. So check out Just the Word, prophecy. Okay? As well as we are working on another website. Let me show you the website that we are working on. I'm not going to show you, just going to give you the link. Our new website. It is called Judah Go Home. And here is the link. It's not quite yet finished, but it is finished. Just doing some refinements on it. Judah Go Home at judahgohome.com. This is the channel in which we will show you scriptural evidence, etc., articles, etc., that show what we preach, why the house of Judah, those of us who are scattered from the house of Judah, are to go back to the land. All right? That is what that is about. So if you are hearing about it, you want more info, that is where we need. We do not have as much articles as that we have, but because of the time we have so many things doing, we have to try to put more and more articles on it, more proof as to why the word of the Most High is for us to go home. I want to say shout out to our sister Anava, who did that song. I think that song is on it as well, called Judah Go Home. And I remember a sister with us here, and I asked her, I want a song. I don't remember exactly the parameters that I gave her, but I told her I want a song, I think, encouraging our people to come home to the land. And she did that song, and so the website is based. That song is the core message in the website. On the website, Judah Go Home. Okay? All right, let me continue going through YouTube. Thank you for the conviction, because I'm seeking to be more righteous to the furrow of you. All right. All right. Someone is asking, what part of South Africa are you? I do not tell where we are. Honestly. I do not. Okay. All right. Someone says they confess that they are double-minded. I suggest you read The Shepherd of Hermas about double-mindedness. There's a chapter there on double-mindedness. Read the word. Okay? Thank you for this message. I'm dealing with drunkenness. You made me realize I'm spiritually and physically in drunkenness. Pray for my deliverance. Shalom. All praises to the Most High. We weren't supposed to be religious. Yahusha said to follow him, not religious leaders. That is true and not true. You follow Yahusha by those whom he sends to lead you. If you notice in the New Testament, he sent what? Apostles. And then the apostles did what? What did the apostles do? The apostles set up what? Assemblies. Where people were what? Gathered together. And where they were gathered together, they set up different assemblies. So you follow Hamashiach by following the leaders. That is why it says in Jeremiah 3 that Yahuwah will give you leaders that will feed you with understanding, with knowledge and understanding. And in Isaiah 30, it says, your eyes shall see your teachers, and your ears shall hear a word. This is the way, walk ye in it when you turn to the right or turn to the left. In other words, he will give you instructions to direct you. When you go on your own and say, I'm following Yahusha, it does not work. Because Yahusha does not lead rebels. He puts you among teachers so that you can be in a place where you can have order. When you are by yourself saying you're following Yahusha, there is no order. The only order is the desire of your own heart. You see, you have to be in Yahuwah's order, in an assembly with others, in order for your own desires to be stifled and not to be what is leading you. Because if you are led by your own desires, what's your name? Dwayne Phillips. If you are led by your own desires, you have to know that there are two angels with man. The angel of righteousness and the angel of iniquity. The angel of iniquity has more power than the angel of righteousness because of our sinful nature. Our sinful nature will always tend to sin. So if you are controlled by yourself, in your weakness, you are going to be led by the angel of wickedness. And that is why the word says the heart is desperately wicked. Who can know it? And then it says, cursed is the man that trusteth in man. What does it mean? If you trust in other people to lead you and not in Yahuwah, and how does that work with other people? You have to know the people who the Most High sets to lead. If you follow somebody that is false, that is why the word says there shall be false teachers, false prophets and false teachers. And it says, by their fruits you shall know them. Why does it say by their fruits you shall know them? It didn't say to avoid teachers all entirely. It says you have to know them by their fruits. So you have to know those who are true and follow them. If you are not called to be a teacher, you have to be in an assembly. That is why the word says, gather yourselves together. Yea, gather yourselves together, nation not desired. You have to gather together. How many people have come here? And when they come here, they will tell you, as when they come here, they realize their deficiencies. You cannot realize your deficiencies when you're alone. I'm telling you that. You have to be in the Most High's assembly. There's a Christian pastor here in America that has a first gentleman. He is a mega church pastor and openly gay. Of course, that's Christianity. This person says, I feel the enemy attacks me day and night. Every little, very little, if any, peace. What a waste of a life if I leave here and go to the lake of fire. So you're sitting in the midst of Babylon and end up going to the lake of fire. Makes no sense. Yeah. All right. What did it say? Where are we? Mama. All right. This lesson has been exceedingly eye-opening. Okay. All right. Hermes is a book. Is it a book which Bible tools you need, and is Bible have a good one? Hermes is available from our website, Mavis. Just go to justtheword.org, go to the downloads page, and you should be able to download it there. All right? Sin always brings misery. All right. I have a blood-born adult son argue about righteous heart, but his heart is angry. How should I continue allowing him to disregard me as his mother? You cannot have a righteous heart if he disregards you as his mother, because the word says, honor your father and your mother that your days may be long. Let him know that he is shortening his allotted time by disregarding you. And I also have friends and relatives who used to say, love is my religion. They were saying, I don't need any religion. Love is my religion. And yet still they knew no love. We're angry, disrespectful, unforgiving, all sorts of things. So people will say anything in this world in order to avoid any form of, it's part of the drunkenness, in order to avoid any form of, what is the word? When you are subjected to do something. Why? All right, all praises to the Most High. Let me see. James Matwerta said, can you recommend anyone here who can do what? Can you recommend anyone here that can baptize me in the name of Yahusha? I am in Georgia. Or I can recommend, can't recommend anyone. People, I don't know, you can go somewhere, you can go and see, go on Facebook, go on somewhere and ask, please. Please, please, please. I don't know anyone in Georgia who can do that. And I cannot have come out of Babylon and be telling you what to do in Babylon, by the way, again. Yes? As your place, midst of Babylon. And by the way, just bear in mind that the juncture that we are in a very serious time. We are at the end of the age. Babylon has already fallen. It's just a matter of time. Come out of her, my people. All right? Shalom, and thank you for being here with us. All right? All praises to the Most High. And shalom to those on YouTube. Shalom.